What's the story of how highly effective people speak? How Highly Effective People Speak, 2021, is a helpful book about improving how you talk to others. It says we should share information in a way that people naturally understand. Understanding how people think and behave is key. The book breaks down stories about people and events to teach you how to communicate better. You'll learn useful strategies and ideas to make your own speaking more powerful and impactful. Who's the author of How Highly Effective People Speak? Andrei is the creator of Speak Truth Well LLC, where he's both an author and a consultant for public speaking. He's got an impressive record in competitive public speaking, earning 37 awards and even the prestigious title of Massachusetts Debate League state champion. His expertise is reflected in his 15-book series, Speak for Success, covering topics like how legendary leaders speak and how visionaries speak. Who's How Highly Effective People Speak for anyone fascinated by the dynamics of psychology, personal development, and communication, and for those wishing to learn how to maximize their power to their greatest benefit. Why read How Highly Effective People Speak? In this book, you'll discover the keys to becoming an incredibly effective speaker. Look at history's game changers: Barack Obama, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Ronald Reagan, Winston Churchill. Politics aside, they all reshaped history, and they shared one vital trait: powerful speaking skills. We often believe that being a captivating speaker is either an inborn gift or an unattainable dream. But the truth is different. While some seem naturally gifted with the ability to speak eloquently, the art of compelling communication is a skill that anyone can learn. The real secret behind their success lies in how they convey messages, aligning with how humans naturally absorb information. They grasp the behavioral economics behind our understanding and actions. Essentially, a handful of cognitive biases separate you from becoming the impactful speaker you aspire to be. Here, we'll dive into 5 of the 9 biases outlined by Andrei in How Highly Effective People Speak: the availability bias, the contrast effect, the zero-risk bias, the halo effect, and attribute substitution. We'll define and dissect each cognitive bias, revealing how they can enhance your message's charisma and persuasiveness. Real-life examples, regardless of political affiliations, will illustrate their powerful impact throughout history. Mastering all cognitive biases would be incredible, but even wielding just one can set you apart significantly. Start on this journey, and you'll stand out among speakers, crafting messages that truly resonate. How Highly Effective People Speak Lessons. Keycap 1: The Availability Bias. Imagine 2 individuals asked about the likelihood of shark attacks. Instantly, their minds sift through stored memories to shape their response. The first recalls a horrific news incident and responds, "Very likely." The other, lacking relevant data, says, "Not at all." Objectively, one might be right, but subjectively, both trust their memories. This tendency to heavily weigh easily recalled information is the availability bias. Even when presented with objective statistics, if it's not easily recalled, it holds little sway. Instead, our minds latch onto vivid anecdotes. So, how does this affect effective communication? You can harness this bias by making your message memorable. Supporting facts are crucial, but for impact, they must be easily retrievable in your audience's minds. Stories are powerful tools, particularly those with characters and drama. Framing your message as a conflict between a protagonist and antagonist engages people. Emphasizing natural conflicts in your message taps into Aristotle's recognition of pathos, the emotional charge in rhetoric. In the case of shark attacks, conveying a single emotionally charged story, like a visual man versus shark narrative, is more persuasive than overwhelming with statistics. Accessibility often trumps accuracy due to the availability bias. Keycap 2: The Contrast Effect. In Ronald Reagan's A Time for Choosing speech, he sets clear distinctions, suggesting that there's no left or right, only an up or down, individual freedom against totalitarianism. The contrast effect is powerful. We perceive differences more intensely when presented starkly. Reagan mastered this throughout his career. You too can employ the contrast effect. Present opposites like up against down, emphasizing your recommendation against alternatives. John F. Kennedy also used this by contrasting easy with hard in his Moon speech. Political debates frequently exploit this bias. It's crucial to outline alternatives to your recommendation. By showing your recommendation as superior, audiences feel empowered in their conclusions. Reagan's vision of individual freedom shines when juxtaposed with totalitarianism. Using cognitive biases, like the contrast effect, requires care. It can serve both good and bad, so using it positively is essential. Equipped with this understanding, you can wield it for beneficial outcomes. Keycap 3, the zero-risk bias. Imagine choosing between two investments. One offers $900 with a guaranteed 100% success, while the other presents $1,100 with a 90% success rate. Most people instinctively opt for the guaranteed option, ignoring the higher expected value of the riskier choice, $9.90. The zero-risk bias explains why we favor zero-risk scenarios, even when riskier options offer greater potential gains. We're wired to prefer certainty over uncertainty, even if the uncertain choice holds a larger upside. Think about products with a 100% money-back guarantee. Customers feel secure and choose these over cheaper options without guarantees. It's a win-win. Businesses attract higher-paying clients, compensating for return rates. If your message can't offer such guarantees, find other ways to alleviate risk. Highlight zero-risk aspects realistically achievable. For example, in an ethical investment portfolio, emphasize risk-free metrics like 0% transaction failure or ethical business investment. While secondary to returns, these activate the zero-risk bias. Be cautious with promises, but highlight achievable guarantees. This strategy can make your offer more compelling, tapping into the zero-risk bias without overpromising. Keycap 4, the halo effect. John F. Kennedy's speech at Rice University in 1962 before the moon landing bid is notable for its generous praise and compliments. Why did he feel compelled to be so effusive? The halo effect comes into play when we observe a positive quality in someone or something during our first encounter. Our brains tend to assign other positive characteristics, even if unobserved, a cognitive bias where initial positive impressions shape subsequent perceptions. The reverse halo effect works similarly, but with negative traits. Regardless of actual display, our brains extrapolate qualities based on initial perceptions. Effective speakers understand the impact of first impressions. To replicate this, consider contextual and direct inputs. Contextual inputs involve choosing meeting spaces or conference settings strategically to appear confident and competent. Direct inputs include voice projection, body language, and attire slightly above average. Dressing too casually or too formally can trigger the reverse halo effect. Emulate JFK by infusing humility and respect into your language. While not aiming for a moon landing, these strategies can lead to equally impactful outcomes. Keycap 5, attribute substitution. The phrase rule of thumb originated as a rough measure during the Cold War's atomic bomb threat. If you see a mushroom cloud and your thumb covers it when extended, you're probably safe. Attribute substitution explains why we rely on mental shortcuts or rules of thumb. Faced with complex decisions, our brains substitute them with simpler, less demanding questions to conserve energy. This bias influences judgments not just in complex situations, but also in assessing others. It's easier to judge a person rather than their message. Think of someone you oppose. How likely are you to agree with what they say? Effective communicators leverage this bias by presenting a shared worldview to their audience. Understanding your listeners' perspectives makes your message more persuasive. Additionally, tying statements to trusted sources or evidence is crucial. Most people scan for cited sources or affiliations with recognized organizations. These indicators make your message appear important and reliable. Simplify and reinforce your message with these small additions to gain your audience's trust. These indicators make your message appear important and reliable. Simplify and reinforce your message with these small additions to gain your audience's trust. How highly effective people speak review. Effective communication hinges on understanding how people absorb information naturally. Mastery of behavioral economics, theoretical and tactical aspects, grants anyone the power to influence. Cognitive biases like availability bias, contrast effect, zero-risk bias, halo effect, and attribute substitution are tools for good communication. Leveraging even one sets you and your message apart. These biases are pathways to separate your message from the rest.